Welcome to all for ABVK group of institution. Today I am going to take 5th standard social science lesson number 4, that is temperature zones of the world. What is the lesson name? Temperature zones of the world, presented by Huma. So this is the 4th lesson. Today we are going to learn that 4th lesson, that is temperature zones of the world. So what do you mean by temperature? So the temperature is nothing but whether it is hot or cold. So what it will measures? The temperature it will measures of how hot or how cold. So what is that? The climate. The climate of the place, it is a average weather. The climate of the place is the average weather condition over a long period of time is called as a climate. Sometimes it is very hot, sometimes it's very cold. Or it's all depending upon the climates. So sometimes it's very hot and sometimes it's very cold. So it's all depending upon the climate. The climate affects the plants, animals, human beings, and the way. So the climate is not only effect for the plants and animals, it affects the human bodies, human beings also. And how it will affect? It will affect the way of the people live and their food and wearing cloth also. It all we have to depend upon the climate. And weather. What is the weather? Weather is the condition of the atmosphere. Weather is the condition of the atmosphere of a particular place at a particular time. Okay, what is the weather? Weather is the condition of the atmosphere of the particular place at the particular time is called as the weather. Next, what are the factors to influence the climate? Which are the factors will be there? How we will get the climates? What are the main factors? So first point, latitude. Latitude are distance of the place from the equator. Latitude are distance of the place from the equator. So what you mean by latitude? Latitudes are imaginary lines. So latitudes are the imaginary lines. Second. Latitudes are the imaginary line drawn in the parallel to the equator, and it runs from the east to west direction. So that latitude places located near the equator. What do you mean by equator? Equator is the imaginary line drawn between the earth. It divided into the North Pole and South Pole. Otherwise, the equator is the imaginary line it draws between the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So it is a very big imaginary line. So in this place we will get very direct rays of the sun because it is near to the sun. The rays are very stronger near the equator, and the place it is very stronger. Why? Because they are very hot. So the sun rays we will get near in that equator. So that's why who are living in this place, they felt very hot. Places near the poles get slanting, means here where the poles, can you see this is a north pole and south pole. Here this much in the poles we cannot get that much rays of the sun because it is a slanting rays of the sun. So the earth is a slanting, so that's why they were not get too much hot there. These rays have traveled through the great distance, so that rays will be there, it will travel that throughout the great distance of the speed. It will move very speedily and it is a longer distance over a large area. And direct rays give more heat and slanting rays. So slanting rays is very low, and compared to direct rays, it will give more heat to the places. So first point is a latitude. It will give that more latitude. In that place we will get more the more sunlight or more heat on that places. Next, altitude. What do you mean by altitude? Altitude refers the height. Altitude is the high places. So where altitude refers to the height of the places. See, can you see the mountains and all? It will very height. Yes or no? So the places above the sea level, if you are going to higher, it becomes very cool. The places which are located in the higher level, no, we will get very cooler. Why? Because the places which are located higher altitude, they will get the cooler than the places located at the lower altitude. Which places are located in higher altitude, they will get the more cool compared to lower altitude. For example, near the plains are sea level. For example, Darjeeling is 2045 meter above the sea level. Darjeeling is the 2045 above of the sea level, and it is cooler than the Kolkata, which is at the sea level. So altitude also one of the point to influence the climate. Third point, distance from the sea. What is the distance from the sea? How is the weather? How is the climate of that? The places near the sea neither very hot or very cold. Which places located near the sea? No, that places either maybe very hot or very cold, typical. So we can't say anything. Those far from places have extreme climate. Which are the places far from the sea? No, that places are very extreme climate. How is the summer? What is the how was the summer season in that distance of the sea? Land heat up faster. The land becomes very heat very fastly and warm the hair. How is the hair? Very warm, means very hot, busy hair. So the warm air rise the making way for cooler. After the warm air will be there, na, that rise the making a way for cooler. And what is this winter season? How is the winter season? The sea remains warm because it loses the heat slowly. When the land get cold, warm air from the sea make it very warm. So the sea remain warm. The sea remains warm because it loses the heat slowly. When the land gets cold, warm air of the sea. So when the land gets very cold, the warm air of the sea, it makes very warm under sea also. So in that sea worm, what it will make? The sea worm make the winter and cool in the summer. The sea worm makes winter and cool in the summer. Next point, humidity. What do you mean by humidity? Humidity is nothing but moisture. Humidity is the amount of the moisture or water vapor. It is present in the air. Where we can see in the air. Places near the sea. Okay, which are the places near the sea? Now that will experience the high humidity. What do you mean by humidity? Moisture, high moisture they will experience because large amount of the evaporation take place from the sea. Large amount of the evaporation take from the sea. So that's why the near the sea it will take the high humidity. Example, the coastal areas such as Chennai and Mumbai. Coastal area Chennai and Mumbai are the example of humid. Next point, wind. So what do you mean by wind? Wind is nothing but the moving air is called as a wind. Moving air is called as a wind. Wind also influence the climate. Wind also will influence the factor of climate. Wind also have an effort to the climate of a place. It's depending on the place and origin of the wind. So wind is depending on the place of origin to the wind. It may be either hot or cool. It may be either hot or cool also. Wind blowing in the form of sea and carry the moisture. Where they will take winds blowing is there not that form the sea. Sea will carry the moisture or cool. So for example, in the deserts and all, how it is the wind blowing in the form of desert, very hot. For the sea, it is a carry the moisture, and compared to the desert, it carry the hot, warm, very warm air will be there in the deserts. These are the main points influence about the climate. Which are the main points influence about the climate, children? So first point is the latitude or distance of the place from the equator. Second one, altitude. Third one, distance from the sea. Fourth one, humidity. Fifth one, wind. So next we have to move on the temperature or heat zones. The temperature or heat zones. So the temperature zones are determined by the amount of sunlight. The temperature zones are determined by the amount of sunlight and received by the region. So, what you mean by determined? Having the made a frame or decision and being the phase. So, it is determined that temperature zones are determined by the amount, how much amount it will receive in the region. So the earth shape. What is the shape of the earth, children? Yes, very good. Its shapes look like a orange. So it's a sphere. It's a sphere. The different parts of the earth receive the different amount of the light. I told before only. So equator, near in middle of the equator line will be there. In that we will get more sun rays. So based on that intensity of heat, based on the sun rays and received from the sun by the particular place, the earth has been divided into the three temperature zone. How the earth we will get receive the sun rays in the temperature, how much temperature we will receive. Now according to that particular places, the earth has been divided into the three temperature zones. Which are those? The torrid zone, temperature zone, frigid zone. How many zones are there? There are three zones will be there. One is a torrid zone, temperature zone, and frigid zone. So now we have to learn one by one what is that and how they will get and where it is, these things. First point, the torrid zone. The torrid zone is known as a hot zone. Why we will call it as a torrid zone? It is a hot zone because on the surface has it received the direct rays of the sun. On the surface of the earth, it receives the direct rays of the sun. This zone extend from the Tropic of Cancer. Where we can see the Tropic of Cancer. The torrid zone, also known as the hot zone. Which is the hot zone? The torrid equatorial region climate will be there. It is very hot zone. And on the surface of the earth, it receives the direct rays. This place, the sun rays will be, it is very direct. This zone has extend from the sea, Tropic of Cancer. This is the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 north, Tropic of Cancer 23.5 north, and Tropic of Capricorn 23.5 south. This zone has a tropical climate. This zone, which zone has a tropical climate? Torrid zone has the tropical climate of the sunlight throughout the year. Which zone we will call as a hot zone? Torrid zone. How many degrees extent it is? It extends from the Tropic of Cancer 23.5 north, the Tropic of Capricorn 23 point south. So it is a tropical climate, means typical climate of the torrid zone. It is very hot zone. Next one, the temperature zone. So what you mean by temperature zone? The temperature zone is divided into the two depending on its location. The temperature, how we will get the temperature on the particular places. On that basis, the earth has divided into the three parts. First one is a torrid zone, temperature zone, and frigid zone. So in that also temperature zone, they have divided into the two parts and two locations. Which are those? First one is the northern temperature. Can you see the picture, children? See, the pink color part will be the, see, that is the northern temperature, lies between the Tropic of Cancer, north to Arctic Circle. See, Tropic of Cancer 23.5 to Arctic Circle 66.5 north. This is a northern temperature. One more southern temperature. Where it lies? It lies in the between the Tropic of Capricorn. This is 23.5 south. Tropic of Capricorn, and Arctic Circle 66.5 south Antarctic Circle. Here Antarctic Circle, there Arctic Circle. Here Tropic of Cancer, and this down part at Tropic of Capricorn. So it lies, they have two types. One is northern temperature, another one is a southern temperature. The places in this zone have moderate climate. So these places have the moderate climate. These places, which places? The temperature zones places will be there, and that is very moderate climate. So it is either very hot and otherwise it is very cool. So the places in this zone have moderate climate. Summer and winter are very distinct. The days are longer in the summer. In the summer time it will be there, the days are longer, and while the night will be there, no, that time nights are longer. Summer season, where summer and winter seasons are there. So the places in this zone have moderate climate. So the days longer in the summer, and the days night are longer in the winter. Winter time nights are longer. Summer time days are longer. See, this is a torrid zone, orange color part. Green color part is the temperature zone, and blue color part is the frigid zone. So this is the sun rays. Sunlight it will receive very high. Compared to frigid zone, it is very high in these two places. So it is a moderate climate. Third one, frigid zone. So what do you mean by frigid zone? So the frigid zone is divided into the North Frigid Zone, extend from the Arctic Circle. How much degree? It is 66.5 north to the North Pole, 90° north. So another one is the South Frigid Zone. It extends from the Antarctic Circle, 66.5 south to South Pole, 90° south. The frigid zones are extremely cold. The frigid zones are very extremely cold throughout the year, because due to the slanting rays of the sun, because the sun rays will not too much in this two places, for the North Frigid Zone and South Frigid Zone. So that's why it is very cold. And they have two types, which are those, that is Northern Frigid Zone and Southern Frigid Zone. Northern Frigid Zone, 66 point Arctic Circle to North Pole, 90°, and the South Frigid Zone is 66.6 Antarctic Circle to North Pole, 90° south. So these zones throughout the year very cold. It is throughout the year it's very cold due to the slanting, very less rays on the sun. So that's why the place is very cold here. Next, we have to know, millions of years ago, children, large part of the earth were covered into the ice. It is known as a ice age. What do you mean by ice age? Millions of years ago, large part of the earth were covered with the ice. It is also known as the ice age. And there are 5 factors which affect the climates of the place. Which are the main factors to affect the climates? The most important factor is determines and temperature zone, which is the first point, that is determines the temperature zones is latitude or distance from the equator. Second point, there are 3 temperature or heat zones will be there. There are 3 temperature zone, which are those: torrid zone, torrid zone, temperature zone, and frigid zone. The torrid zone extend with the tropical and tropics of very hot. The torrid zone extend within that, it is tropics of the very hot. And temperature zone, they have 2 types: northern temperature zone and southern temperature zone. It is a moderate climate. And frigid zone also, they have two zones. One is a northern frigid zone and southern frigid zone. But frigid zone is very coldest zone, and torrid zone is very hot, so is a arc zone. And temperature zone has moderate climate. This is the information about the lesson number 4, temperature zone of the world. I hope everyone has understood this lesson. Thank you.